Hey everybody, it's Cindy here, and this week we're talking about relationships and how to show up in ways that are helpful in our relationships. And yesterday I talked about the art of listening, and I want to expand a little bit on that in terms of when we're dealing with important conversations or conflict. Um, so, if you have a really important conversation that you feel like you need to have with someone you're in a relationship with, and I'm talking about any kind of relationships, parent-child relationships, friend to friend, a spouse or partner, a coworker, whatever. It doesn't matter what relationship it is. If you have a serious conversation that you need to have or something that feels like an issue or conflict, here are some things I want you to consider when you're approaching those situations. Number one is you want to be strategic about the time that you choose to speak to the person. So you may even ask them, you may tell them ahead of time, hey, there's something I really, it's very important to me that I address with you, that I talk with you about. When is the best time for you? And so you may schedule it or plan it. If it can be in person, that's usually best. If you are geographically far apart, I would try something like Skype where you can actually see one another, because so much of our communication is nonverbal. And so it's much better if a person can see your face as you're speaking to them, or you can see their face when you are trying to communicate with one another. So I would schedule it and make it in person or as close to in person, make it visual, FaceTime on your phones even, if you can't be right together. But if you can be right in the same room, that would be wonderful, and schedule it as soon as possible that it's convenient for both of you, or reasonably convenient. And however, if you know that your person is not feeling physically well, if they're extremely tired or stretched too thin, if the issue can wait, if the conversation can wait, I would wait till the other circumstances are optimal. Okay, because if you're having what could be a controversial or difficult conversation, you want to set yourselves up for success as much as possible. So think about those things. Don't just say in your mind, I want to talk to them. This is important to me now, so I'm going to talk to them right now. So if you can kind of dial it back and go, okay, let's set ourselves up by choosing a time that is convenient for both of us on a day or an evening or whatever that is not so loaded already with stress or other factors that might make it harder to have a successful conversation. Keep all of that in mind. And then you also want to choose a place that is neutral or really conducive to a positive, healthy conversation. So if you're a couple and it's 11:30 at night and you're trying to go to, it's really bedtime and you're both at the end, you have the last ounce of energy left in you, and you're both in bed, that's probably not the best place or time. If you're a couple, the bedroom, we want that to be a place of sanctuary for you as a couple, a place of safety and sanctuary, not conflict and stress, if at all possible. So you want to find some other place in your home, or go out somewhere if you can have some privacy, some other place or whatever. But really think about, the point of me bringing this up is, think about how you can set yourselves up well for the most healthy conversation. And then when you bring something up, here's a way to bring something up that may be difficult. You might approach it saying, what our human tendency is to say, when, I'm sick and tired of you always blah, 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 whatever. Or I see again that you've forgotten to do this, and I've had it up to here, and I'm wondering what your problem is and when you're going to, change it around or whatever. That's very human. It's understandable. You're obviously frustrated and you need to talk to your person about this. Another way to approach that, however, would be this simple formula. And then fill in the blank with a specific behavior that is troubling to you. When you leave your your dirty laundry all over the bedroom floor. Okay, I feel blank. I feel frustrated. I feel disappointed. I feel disgusted, whatever the word is. And what I need from you instead is, or what I request of you instead is, that you put your dirty clothes in the laundry basket every day or every time. Okay, so the formula is when you blank, I feel blank, and what I need instead, or what I'd like to request instead, is blank. So this is a great formula because you are naming something very specific, not giving generalities like you just don't care and you're sloppy, and you're giving something very specific. Focus on one thing at a time, very specific. And then you're owning your feelings. You're the one with the problem. They probably don't have a problem that they're throwing their dirty clothes on the floor. You're the one with the problem. So you're owning it when you say, I feel this and I feel that and I feel this. Or I feel like you don't respect our space, our shared space, whatever. But that's you owning it by saying I feel, and then what I need instead. So you're giving them an option that shares what you're really hoping for, wanting, needing, and giving them the chance to respond and respect what you're asking of them. They may not be able to fulfill your request. That may not fit for who they are or what their priorities are. But it's okay to put the request out there very specifically so they have a chance that they can fix it or respond, or at least consider what you're asking of them. So mainly when we have something difficult to share or ask or approach, we want to own our feelings about it and not just demand something or judge the other person for where they're supposedly falling short for you. Even if you feel like they're falling short and you're tempted to criticize, instead dial it back and focus on how you're affected by what's going on and own your part of it. And then if you have some compromise or suggestion or something, then go ahead and offer it up. And then you may ask them how you could help the situation too, to make it easier, better, whatever. Work with them to come to some kind of understanding or a way of functioning better together and around these particular circumstances. And then, of course, you want to give them a chance to respond. And they may need some time. It's okay too. That's another thing. When you're having a difficult conversation, if either of you or both of you need to take time out to they hear you, you hear them, and then you're at a standstill okay, I know what you feel, you know what I feel, but it clashes. Then you might want to take a time out and each go to your corners, so to speak, as they say. Take a few moments or even a day. Say, okay, let's both take this in a little bit. And check in with each other tomorrow night about this and see if either of us have any ideas or thoughts on it. You don't have to beat a subject to death and come up with how we're going to handle this. With most subjects that come up. Sometimes you're dealing with emergencies and you have to punt. As people in relationships, and that's different. But in most our day-to-day lives or circumstances that come up, most things can wait. We can take a breath and rethink and soak in what our person has shared or what we've shared with them, and come back together in another follow-up conversation to continue to work through things. So I hope these ideas are helpful. Remember the listening skills that I shared yesterday. Take a look at listen to those again if that'll help too, because if you can apply those listening skills when you're having a particularly challenging conversation, like de-escalating instead of escalating, using eye contact and some verbal reassurance, reflecting back what you're hearing the other person say, checking in and making sure you are hearing what they've said correctly, or letting them check in with you, like you might say, what do you hear me saying here? What do you think I'm trying to tell you right now? Do a little check-in and see if you're on the same page of what's been shared. Those kinds of things are all going to help make a conversation go better, even if it's a conflictual, difficult stressful topics. So all the best to you in those moments. We all have them. It's okay. It's part of being in relationship with someone. And it usually, the more charged these conversations feel, probably means the person is so important to you. So try to keep that in mind, how much you care for them, how much you love them, and that's why you're both pretty charged. And so anything that you can do to set yourselves up for it being a calmer, healthier conversation, that is wonderful. So, and it is possible. So anyway, I wish you all the best in that, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.